how can AI help business leaders? Can AI play a role in better management?
Because AI can help alleviate, because they don't know what to do the right thing.
Can they ensure that lesser misuse of AI happens?
Leaders can focus on what AI cannot.
It will help you reduce your stress, come up with strategies to keep yourself healthy.
The human effort will have to level up. There's burnout, there's neurosis, there's stress.
Hey guys, welcome to Better Engineering and Management Podcast. Today we have Glenn Wastyn joining us on our podcast. Glenn has around 25 years of experience driving business and sales, is a certified Ironman, an AI coach, and he helps business leaders drive value. Okay, Glenn, please welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for the introduction. Very kind. Nice to meet you, Pradeep.
Also, I must mention that Glenn is a very prolific author, and we will discuss about his book also. So stay tuned to the conversation all the way till the end. Okay, Glenn,
Exactly.
welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So, Glenn, let's get started with can you tell us how can AI help business leaders drive a more effective leadership? Or can AI play a role in better management?
I think it's an interesting question, but it relates to two different elements: management and leadership. Those are not always the same. So I'd like to tackle both of them because I think they do have a specific element. Talking about management, which is more operational in nature, more process driven. I think when you think about management, it's often referred to as decision making under uncertainty. I think it's the Nobel Prize winner Herbert Simon that not quoted that, but did most of the groundwork there. And I think it's very important because AI can help alleviate some of that uncertainty. Why is that important? Because people don't thrive typically under uncertainty. They like structure. I don't know if you know, there's actually the Pavlov dog tests. If you ever heard about it, there's one that is very famous about the light and the bell. And dogs start being trained and salivating because the food is coming when the bell is already ringing. But there's a second test, which is actually even more important. And that is, if you provide a negative stimulus to a dog with a bell, like electricity on the floor, and they can jump away, there's no problem with the dog. But if the bell and the penalty is not correlated, the dogs go crazy because they don't know what to do the right thing. Right. And actually very similar to humans, when managers do not know what to do is the right thing, there's burnout, there's neurosis, there's stress, a lot of physical ailments. Now today, there's an increase of stress in the environment. People often refer to it as VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And because of that increase in stress, a lot of the managers are struggling in their job. Volatility is easy. It's the increase of oil and interest prices and the tariffs going up and down at any given day of the week. There's the uncertainty. I mean, yes, is there going to be a war in Ukraine? Is it going to stop or not stop? What's the impact on the supply chains? Complexity. Think about matters like climate change. How does my job, how does my work, how do my decisions affect climate change environmentally? Europe versus America, uncertainty, and of course ambiguity with the social media, with the news all over the world. What is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is false? Is there a truth, etc.? So all of that makes the job more difficult. So AI can actually help filter through that complexity. And so as a manager, I can use AI to help me reduce the VUCA in the world so that it becomes easier for me to manage. The stress goes down and I have more time to be a leader. That's the second part. So for instance, volatility, using AI to analyze and predict and respond faster, make sure that the volatility is less because my responsiveness increases. So I can have a better control of the situation than without AI, right? Uncertainty has to do with data. The more data I can amass, right, data management, the less uncertainty there is. I cannot do it as a manager, but AI can help me bring all the data together. Very important. Then there's the complexity. It's about the correlation between all the sources. How can I see correlation between different elements that my brain cannot capture, traditional infrastructure cannot capture, but AI can see the trends, make sense of the data into information. And then ambiguity, which is very important, which is prediction. If I have all these sources, AI can look at all of them. They can make decision-making scenarios and say, okay, the probability of this is going to be Y, the probability of that is going to be X. So I can get a clearer view of the ambiguity and understand what's going on. So all of that makes my stress go down, my control go up, and I can make better decisions because the uncertainty goes down. So I think that's, for any manager, is very, very important. But then as I get more control of my situation, I get more time. And that's when I can become a leader. I think that's very, very important. I believe that leaders can focus on what AI cannot. And that basically means a more human form of leadership, increased EQ, increased communication, increased transparency with the workforce. There's one image I like to use in that mindset. I don't know if people can visualize the Sistine Channel. There's an image of God creating man. If you have that on, you can put it into the podcast later, where there's an image where God creates man. And I think in a way, for man, God is everything that man is not. It's the perfect man, right? In the similar way, I'm thinking man is creating AI.
Okay.
And by doing so, man is now everything AI is not.
Okay.
And so if I can get all my computer stuff, all my, as I said, all my math and all my my decision support done, I can focus on what it means to be really human. So leadership will be more human thanks to AI.
That's very, very interesting observation, Glenn. I mean, so what you're saying is essentially AI can help managers, because right now, any manager, in fact, in the past, even I have suffered through it, where if there is uncertainty, it automatically generates stress. And that uncertainty is generally because of the VUCA, as you mentioned, right? Because there is less data. And so you have to take decisions, and you're not very sure whether your decisions are going to be right or wrong. So, and even if you want to make sense of data, let's say you are in a complex business where there is too much amount of data, like even simple retail, let's say where you're selling something, the amount of data and the seasonality and the complexity of consumer behavior can drive you crazy.
Yeah,
You always
absolutely.
need a support. You always have a team to kind of help you, but at the end, you still feel that the decisions can go wrong. So what you're saying is, since AI is capable of processing all the huge amount of data because it's all computer, and it can reduce the amount of uh, the stress the managers have to take, because to an extent it can build a certain certainty into your decision making.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that you said is, like, since human beings have this capacity of, there are some human behaviors which machines can never reproduce, what we can do is we can kind of offload all the mechanical processes to the computer, and post that all the relationship building, all the communication part can be taken by human beings. And since they will be less burdened now because of the AI, they can focus there. That can effectively help their leadership, kind of increasing their the quality of relationship, which AI can never do. Okay,
I think
very,
in
very
such a way,
interesting.
it's comparable to what the Industrial Revolution did for the blue collar workers, where it's all the simple work got to be industrialized, even with robotics more and more, that people are evolving to more of the creative part, right? And robotics can do all the stupid work, quote unquote. It's not the right term, but the simple manual labor can be taken over by robots and mass production. Now humans have evolved on the blue collar to more creative work. I think with management or white collar, it's going to be very similar, that we are going to evolve where the simple white collar work is going to be done by AI, and we can really look at the additional value of that.
Interesting. So Glenn, the next question that I wanted to ask is, there are many small businesses where AI-based services are getting used. Okay, something like chat agents, content generation, etc. We are seeing that a lot these days. But what are some of the AI first business ideas that can generate real revenue sustainably?
I think that how would I say? I think there's a difference between transforming your business into an AI business or creating new AI first business. So just transforming what you have versus creating new business. It reminds me of a quote, well, alleged quote from Ford that said, if you would have asked people what they wanted, they would have asked for faster horses. They wouldn't have built a car. And I think today with AI, and by the way, the same with the internet. When people started with the internet, they just made a digital storefront. They had an analog storefront, they wanted a digital storefront. They had analog paper magazine advertising, and now they wanted to advertise online. It was just a different way of doing the same thing. Social media and e-commerce completely turned that internet around, right? That's where the new business model came up. The question is, what is it going to be with AI? I think today, traditionally, a lot of the people that are in AI are looking at similarly changing what they're doing, but with an AI component. Content generation is a good one. Instead of designing, I'm just going to ChatGPT, create an image of X with Y and Z, or create a video, etc. The question is, what will be that breakthrough new business model that AI will support, which is not possible with standard internet? And I feel, and again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do feel like, let's say, opportunity with AI is the combination of AI agents, where, for instance, you will have an AI agent chatbot that will communicate with a person, but instead of doing it with just text, it will talk to another chatbot that will take the text and put it into a voice, which will talk to another chatbot, which will put a live image streaming of a virtual person communicating the content, which will then connect to another AI that is looking at all the service data in the back end, and then will give you answers specifically about that content that will then generate an image that will send it to you so that you can compare, for instance, your dishwasher with a video. Okay, where do I have to push? All of these agents make one offering that today individually you cannot. So it's almost a whole new world existing by combining these AI agents. And I think people don't even are starting to put one and one together, but not 1 and 10 together yet. And I think once that can create a whole new business that is going to disrupt traditional, even internet business.
Interesting. So what you're saying is AI agents are the most powerful things which can disrupt this AI business. And I mean, in the sense, instead of using AI for kind of transforming your existing services, if you want to do a real AI business, you should start looking at AI agents. And AI agents can be very powerful. Multiple AI agents, if you kind of program multiple AI agents properly, program in the sense that, of course, AI agents are very intelligent themselves, direct them that this is what you're supposed to, you assign a role to them.
Yeah.
And if there are, let's say, 10, 20 AI agents in your company, they are essentially working like 10 different professionals, kind of talking to each other, sharing questions, queries, giving responses to those queries. And eventually, the outside user, the customer, can benefit from this because
Yeah.
if he gives a request to an AI agent, that AI agent knows where to route it because he already had that information. He will route it to all the correct places and eventually get the correct response and give it to the customer. That will be one real AI business, which is not a kind of add-on or just a transformation. It's AI first
It's one
business.
level
So
up.
yeah,
It's one level up
okay,
of today we are replacing the components. It's not the
okay,
AI agent itself, it's the meta AI agent, so to speak. Think about
okay,
e-commerce as well. You have a
okay.
store, you have a price list, you have transportation, you have insurance. And so in the e-commerce side today, you don't have to do all of that. You click a button,
Okay,
supply chain is organized, it arrives at your front door, it's paid in euros or in dollars, it goes off all of these components, traditional things that when you go to a store and take it home and have to pay is all combined into a meta store, right? That was the new concept. I think the meta agent that is overseeing different agents is really where the benefit of AI is going to come from. The
okay.
disruptive
So
business
essentially,
model is going to be something, in my opinion, something like that.
it's a very interesting take. So not only the AI agents, but there is a meta agent who is supervising everything.
Exactly.
And you can, over the time, I think people will start relying on that because it will become smarter and smarter. And of course, with all the human contributions and of all the data and all the patterns, it will become even more stronger. There will be some open source models, all those things coming into play, and you can actually radically transform businesses like e-commerce already they are pretty much computerized, but with what you're saying is with the advent of AI agents and meta agents, this will be like one level up where the business value
Exactly.
will be huge. And I think the time it takes for a request to be responded to will be significantly lesser. Interesting.
Yeah,
Just
but
like e-commerce, what?
it also leads to the question, okay, if this is happening, I cannot be a content generator anymore. I need
Right.
to understand the whole in order
Okay.
to ask the right question, right? So me
Interesting.
as a human, I need to have a different level of thinking. Again, like production to creation. Now I'm going from asking or creating content to asking the right questions to the AI to bring it all together.
That's very interesting. What you're saying is all the general problems in which generally computer engineers and all those businessmen used to spend a lot of mind, they can simply disengage from them because they will all become solved problems now. And you only have to worry about strategic changes or let's say roadmap or what else you want to
Yeah.
do using the power of this particular AI.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Interesting.
it's
And
important to, so in my opinion, the future role is first of all understanding AI. You have to understand what's going on, but also now it's about which question do I want to ask?
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not asking the question, which question? How do I want to ask the question? How do I validate the answer? How do I
Okay.
interpret the answer? How do I
Right.
communicate the answer to my people? How
Okay.
do I bring it all? How do I execute with the people on the answer? So it's again, also from a management perspective, it's a higher
Hmm.
level of thinking.
Okay.
And I think similar to where the blue collar worker has lost some of the jobs into the execution and more into the to the managing of the robotics and the creative part of generating the work. I think the same is going to happen with middle management in white collar job. It's not about okay, you make the P&L or whatever. You create a product management team that's going to be solved. The question: how do I manage the AI that is my product management team, so to speak?
Very, very interesting. So what you're saying is since AI has all the answers, but you should know what to ask the AI, then only it can respond properly, right? It has all the data, it has all the patterns. But if you ask smaller, superficial questions, you will get superficial responses. Now it's
Exactly.
all about
Exactly. So
strategically
again, the
thinking. Yeah.
humans will
Okay.
have the human effort will have to level up
Okay.
to communicate with this new tool.
Interest. And just like e-commerce, what are the other businesses where you think AI can play a big role? You gave the example of AI agents in e-commerce. Anything else that is up on your mind?
Honestly, if I would know the answer, I would be a multi-billionaire. Um, at some, I don't know. I really don't. Just like nobody expected Amazon to be a working product. I mean, it was a bookstore online. I mean,
Okay.
who
Okay.
would have thought? Nobody thought that some guy in a dorm room that wanted to like girls was going to be
Mm,
Facebook. So
okay.
we can't know until somebody puts the two together or the
Okay.
10
Okay.
together into a value added service. Because of
Okay.
course, how did we think about it?
Okay.
But
Okay.
I don't know the
I
answer.
think the
I'm not
hindsight
smart
bias will
enough.
come here in on play. And I think this is all to all the business leaders and founders who are watching this podcast. This is the place where the opportunity is up for grabs. This is where you need to think like, how can you utilize these agents to create a significant business? And you have to apply your own mind. Obviously, you can kind of go for the transformation. Also, there are also some business will be there, but if you can go for AI first business models, the revenue
Yeah.
can be significant.
That would be absolutely my recommendation. I think there's also an element of democratization of business. Just
Okay.
like again in e-commerce, anybody that could write a little bit of code could create a website, right?
Right.
Now with
Right.
AI, you don't even have to know how to create code anymore. AI is good creating code. So now it's about you can very quickly go from I have an idea to launching it, failing, let's do another idea. So anybody can become the new Zuckerberg if you know how to ask the questions with AI and
Hmm.
try it, lose it, improve on it. So a very even more agile, more speediest development of business models. And if it doesn't work, switch to something completely different. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for everybody to do something there.
Okay, so basically, what you're saying is that motto used to be there, right? Build fast and fail fast. Build a POC and go to market and just test it out. Now that time will be reduced even more because the POCs and all can be generated by AI pretty
I
like in
don't
a
even have
second.
to write a code anymore. I just ask AI,
Yeah.
hey, make me a website or make me this little tool. I've used it in my website. I'm not a programmer. I
Right.
just say, hey, I want to create
Mm.
this little app in my website,
Okay. Okay.
and it gives me HTML code, and I go, no, I like it in white. I like it. I asked. I'm talking to my employee. Give me this a little bit bigger, and 5 seconds later, it's on my website. It's like, how the hell? That would take a week
Right.
to go to in a big, even a big company. You want to change your website?
Right.
I want to have an app. You have to go to the department. Marketing has to get involved. And now I have
Right.
5 people working together, and I'm asking, okay, marketing do this, technology do that, change. I want to have a slider here, and literally, let's say in 30 minutes, I can create an app on my website. Just me talking to my AI.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Interesting. So I think all the viewers should take note that you see, AI has huge potential if you think about what Glenn just said, right? But
About
you
what?
have to
Sorry,
apply your
huge
own mind.
potential. If
I was saying that just listen, if you listen to what Glenn has just said, AI has huge potential and you can create very much positive impact, very good businesses. But if you have to apply a little bit of your own human cognition also, as you
absolutely,
just mentioned.
that's
So
critical.
yeah,
Yeah.
Glenn, yeah, moving forward, you know, another question, related question is how can business leaders ensure that full potential of AI is exploited? I think we have already covered it to an extent. And also, how can they ensure that lesser misuse of AI happens? Because on internet we are daily seeing things which kind of disturb people, and till images it was fine, but when you see fake videos being created, right, and kind of an unconscious user who just kind of casually watches a video which is fake and he doesn't realize it, he can easily get provoked or disturbed by that, right? So a lot of those things are happening. The power of AI can either go into positive direction or a negative direction. We all hope it goes into positive directions, but just for the sake of completion, how do you think lesser misuse of AI can happen, and what can business leaders do in that direction?
I think again, 2 levels. Business leader themselves, it's an ethical question, a corporate
Mm,
values question. You have a personal responsibility to doing the right thing. Regretfully, for any innovation, there's somebody that's going to exploit it in the negative. Whether it's e-commerce, whether it's Bitcoin, people use it for transferring money and drugs payments and whatever. Whether it's yeah, movies, the atomic
mm,
bomb and nuclear energy. It's both. It's the same technology. What do you do with it? So I think it's very difficult to say how can an individual company make a difference, except for it's your responsibility as a manager. Who do you want to be? And I think if you have the right business model for your customers, I think the customer will decide whether you are a trustworthy agent or whether they will say no, there's abuse and I'm gonna get out. And with the internet and the communication, I think more and more, even AI will help qualify which AIs are malicious and which not. But I
mhm,
think there it comes to, and that's I'm not a strong governmental let's say advocate, but I do feel that there is a responsibility also from the government to
mhm,
then put boundaries on, or if for the people that have not so good intentions, to at least put a framework around, okay, what happens if I don't do, if I'm not willing to do the right thing, what could happen
mhm.
to me if I go outside of the
Okay.
boundaries? Making the boundaries, penalizing people that break the rules, so that at least there's a framework of penalty to breaking it. Because if there's no penalty, then I think the abuse is going to be a lot higher. And I think Europe is doing, I mean, there's a lot to say about how Europe is doing it badly. Have too many rules. I agree. And by doing too many rules, we are sometimes slower than what China and America are doing. Absolutely right. It's a flaw. However, with all the flaws of Europe, we still have a more stable economy. We have a
Okay.
healthier food and healthier traffic and more development, etc. In our region. What is the right
It's an act
answer? I
of
don't know.
balancing
But
the
there's a
situation.
trade-off, obviously.
Yeah, that's interesting. What you're saying is like there's no direct answer to this question. It's a matter of personal ethics, or you can say corporate ethics, whatever, it's the same thing to me. And of course, it's also about governments taking some kind of drawing some kind of legal boundaries that, hey, if you do this, you will end up in prison. Okay.
For
To
instance,
put it bluntly.
yeah,
And but if there is a thriving country with a lot of good people, as you mentioned, right, in Europe, in spite of so many usages of bad usages of technology. Generally technologies get used for good things, right? So eventually I think good people in good intentions will overpower all these negative things. There's a hope also, and we do feel that people are getting into that direction. That would be the answer to this question, essentially. So, Glenn, what we are most excited about is to listen about your book, the book that you have written. Please tell us about that.
Excited about it, but it is actually there's a section in the book about VUCA and stress, because the book
Okay.
is called the Executive Triathlete, and
Okay.
it's a bit of a misnomer because it's not only for triathletes. It's really about in this moment where people are in the VUCA environment, right?
Okay.
Stress is increasing. People are looking to have healthier lives, increased well-being, being physically, we live longer, we work longer. So how do I stay fit when I'm 60? And it turns out actually that there's a lot of mental bias. People think, oh, I'm getting older, I'm going to get slower, or I'm going to get less fit. It turns out that until you're 60 to 70 years old, your body is perfectly capable of beating a 20-year-old as long as you put the effort in. But people are like,
Okay.
yeah, I can't run because I'm old. No, you can't
Okay.
run because you think you're old and therefore you don't run.
Right.
So it's a chicken and egg question. Anyway,
Mm.
the book is specifically aimed at executives that have busy lifestyles and what can they do to increase their health and well-being using
Mm.
a little bit of sports, nutrition, hydration, sleep,
Okay.
the right breathing techniques to reduce
Okay.
stress, because
Okay.
ultimately you become more performant in your personal life, but also on the job. So
Okay. Okay.
being healthy, having a good mindset, and physically body, a healthy mind and a healthy body is one of my strong beliefs. I will perform better at work as well. And I think that's something maybe companies but might be interested in, to say, okay, if I invest in my workforce to be healthier, in return, I will have less illness, less absenteeism. They will perform
Mm.
better when they're at the job. So
Okay.
it's a win-win.
Very interesting. So what I understand is like when you grow older, you develop these tendencies that, okay, I'm old. No, I should not be doing too many physical things. And which is not true. Your body is completely capable, but it's just your mentally, since you have kind of gone into that thinking, you are kind of estimating yourself. You are actually capable of being fit if you do a little bit of physical things, nutrition, and all the things which are
I'm an
suggested.
Ironman myself, and
Okay.
I am faster now at 53 than when I was 45. So it's just the mindset. You can do it, but you have to
Wow.
put your mind to it.
That's very inspirational, Glenn. And for the people who don't know, Ironman is like one of those sporting activities where you have to do the running, you have to do swimming, and you also have to do cycling, right?
I
The
mean,
third part.
cycling, yeah. So it's a
Yeah,
swim,
and it's
bike, run effort, and
okay, okay,
it can take up to, depending on how fast you are, between 8 and 15 hours,
okay.
depending on your age and your
Mm,
capabilities and your training, etc., etc.,
right.
etc.
It's fantastic. I think all the people, not just elderly people, all the people who are young also can read this book because it will help you reduce your stress, to kind of come up with strategies to keep yourself healthy. Health should always be the first priority. I have always believed that. And in spite of believing that, I would like to tell, what happened is like in my last company where I was continuously busy. There was no time to run actually, run or jog or anything. And at such a young age also I started feeling, would I be capable of running a mile or 2 miles or 3 miles if I go? And when I took a break, the first day I couldn't run even 1 mile actually because I started feeling tired. And but the next day everything changed. Next, and in a week, I was running like around, let's say, 6 kilometers, which is roughly around 4 miles. And that is like a daily running, okay, just for the sake of jogging and like that. So we do underestimate ourselves, our bodies a lot. And if I'm doing it at such a young age, I can understand if people at old age have given up or something. So, but as we can see, Glenn pretty healthy, pretty fit, and we must read that book, get some
Yeah.
inspiration, and kind of take care of our health.
I'm going to give you three things to close this on this part. First of all, I think the most difficult step is the first one. As you said, the first time putting on your shoes is hard because that's the biggest jump. If you want to run a mile, that's hard. But if you want to go from 1 mile to 1.1 mile, that's easy.
Hmm.
Right? That's
Right.
easy.
Okay.
So number one, the first step is the hardest. You can start now. Put your shoes on and walk. Just walk. Secondly, consistency. And as you said, every day, small steps make it fairly easy. 1-2 minutes longer every day. After a year, you can run a marathon. Easy. Thirdly, when do you start? I can tell you my parents have always had a restaurant. They never worked out until they retired. They have two sons that are Ironmans. My mom is now 74. My stepdad is 85. And my mom runs twice a week, 7 kilometers. She has never run in her life until she was 65. And she runs.
Interesting.
When I go to home, we do a walk run or we do a run. My dad walks every day for an hour and a half. He's 85. He gets up, he puts his shoes on, and he goes out. Rain, wind, sunshine, it doesn't matter. I wish I could be as healthy as they are when I'm 85, but they didn't do anything their whole lives. But one day, at 65, they started. And it's still possible. Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope.
Inspirational, Glenn. I mean, almost like unbelievable, but probably, as you mentioned, right, since we don't see these things happening around us a lot, we don't really open up to those possibilities. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Cool. Your mind is your biggest obstacle, not your body.
Sure. Correct. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks. It was a fantastic conversation.
It was a
all
pleasure.
The people who are watching, thanks for watching. And Glenn, if you have any last words, and then we can wrap up this discussion.
I think I just gave you my 3 bits of wisdom that I had left in my pocket, so that's what it was.
Sure, thanks. All the viewers, do let us know in the comments what ideas you are kind of thinking of using AI agents. Where are you feeling stuck, and what are the possibilities that you are exploring, so that we can have more conversations around that. Do subscribe if you like these conversations, and all of you have a nice day. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Pradeep. Bye, everybody.